The Web 2.0 websites and web applications such as Gmail and Flickr established a new benchmark in the eyes of the users about what should be expected of a web application. They established new standards for the usability, responsiveness, and interactivity of a web application, based on complex technologies such as JavaScript and AJAX. The goal of this next lesson is to introduce you to the OutSystems Rich Widgets, widgets that embed technologies such as JavaScript and AJAX, and allow you to comply with these demanding new standards. The cool thing about them is that they are integrated in the Agile platform, allowing you to provide your users with these advanced features without having to dive deep into these new complex technologies. First, we're going to present you some common patterns made available by OutSystems Rich Widgets. Feedback messages. These are dynamic messages you can trigger after relevant events in your application to provide feedback to your end user. In this example, we'll mistype the password in a login form. As you can see, an animated overlay containing the error message is displayed in the loop of the screen. These feedback messages can also have other colors to reflect different kinds of feedback, such as success, warning, or information. Next, we have information balloons, used to display additional content retrieved through AJAX, making your screen richer while keeping them small and fast. In this example, hovering the information icon to the right of a customer name displays additional information regarding that customer. The list late loading pattern allows your list screens, usually heavy screens, to render faster and provide immediate feedback to the user that the list data is being retrieved. This provides a smoother, more natural user experience. We look at this example in a slightly different way. We'll slow motion the effect so that you can grasp the details. When you switch to the customer screen, let's freeze it here, notice that the page is rendered without any data in the list, and a message states that the data is being loaded. The data is then retrieved through AJAX and displayed. Unfreeze. There it is. As you'll see later, this pattern is also the building block for other advanced patterns around lists, such as paging and sorting. The pop-up editing window allows you to display a form without leaving the screen, and when combined with other AJAX patterns, immediately updates the base screen. In this example, we'll be editing the description of one of the industries without ever leaving the industry's list screen. Notice that the list screen was immediately updated. Finally, we'll talk about the AJAX refresh. This is a more subtle effect. It's also a core one because it's a built-in capability of the Agile platform and a building block for some of the other patterns you've just seen. The general idea is to be able to update a screen part without having to refresh the whole screen, which results in a faster and smoother web application. In this example, we'll apply a filter in the customer list. What I want you to notice is that only the table data part of the screen is refreshed through AJAX, unlike traditional approaches in which the whole screen gets refreshed. You now know some of the most common patterns in building a rich web application, but how do you implement them? These patterns are built using a combination of AJAX capabilities built in the Agile platform, such as AJAX Refresh and callbacks, and a library, to be precise, it's an eSpace with rich widgets you can use in your screens. The Rich Widgets eSpace that contains the widgets you'll be using to build the patterns, it's already published in your server. It's composed of a collection of public elements, such as web blocks and actions, much like a library in a traditional programming language. The eSpace is already published in your server. You can reference its public elements in your eSpace and use its web blocks and actions to implement the patterns. Let me show you how to add a reference to the Rich Widgets eSpace in Service Studio. You can launch the Add Remove References dialog by clicking the Add Remove References button in the toolbar. On the left, you have the list of eSpaces and extensions available in the server you're connected to. Let's select the Rich Widgets eSpace. Once selected, the public elements of the Rich Widgets eSpace are displayed on the right. In this case, we have public web blocks, actions, and structures. Let's start with the public web blocks. The name of the web blocks reflects the pattern in which they play a role. Let's see if we can find the ones we've just talked about. Here is a feedback message, list late load, pop-up editor window, and the info balloon. The Rich Widgets eSpace also has some public actions. Their name is usually prefixed by the name of the pattern in which they play a role. Here is a feedback message and two actions related with the pop-up editor pattern. There is nothing for us in the Structures folder. Press OK and the references are added to your eSpace. A new web flow containing the public web blocks you referenced was added to your eSpace tree, and you can now use them as you would with any other web block in your eSpace. Notice that the web blocks are grayed out, meaning that these are external web blocks and therefore are unavailable for editing. And when you're in an action flow, let's open one, the actions you referenced are available under the Referenced Actions folder. You can change the set of referenced elements, adding or removing references to web blocks and actions at any time by going back to Add Remove References. What have you learned? You were introduced to some of the common patterns available and to the role of Rich Widgets eSpace in the implementation of these patterns. You learned how to add references to the public elements of the Rich Widgets eSpace using Service Studio, and where they were available for your use once they were added to your eSpace. The referenced web blocks are available in the eSpace tree on the right, and once you're in an action flow, actions are available in the Referenced Action folder of the Tools tree on the left. Help us improve by rating this webinar. You are then ready to move forward on to the next lesson. Please contact us with questions or feedback to training@outsystems.com. Thank you for watching.